What's up, fighting fans? Tips from the Fight IQ channel. Today we're coming back for another episode of the Fight IQ show. And we're gonna talk about last weekend. Today it will be a special underdog, these fighters that are doubted and expected to lose before the fight even started. Two of them really caught my attention last weekend. I think they deserve some praise and I want to shine some light on their performances. After that, I'll date you on the prospects I mentioned in my last preview and mention some of the cool fights that happened last weekend. So let's get ready to rumble! This weekend I watched LFA 182 in Sioux Falls on Friday 26, MVP Prospects in Orlando on Friday 26, LUX Fight League 42 in Guadalajara on Friday 26, Glory 91 in Perez on Saturday 27th, UFC Fight Night in Vegas on Saturday 27th, and the Rizin 46 in Tokyo on Monday 29th. My first underdog was Bogdan Guskov. He was facing Ryan Spann in the co-main event of the UFC Fight Night in Vegas on Saturday 27th. So of course Guskov was the underdog in that fight. That can be explained because he had only 2 UFC fights. A loss in the first round via submission versus Volkan Ozdemir last September, and a win by KO in the first round versus Zach Pauga only 2 months ago. So way less UFC experience than Ryan Superman Spann, who had 11 UFC fights before that one and was ranked number 11 in the light heavyweight division. Even though he stayed on back-to-back losses, first one versus Nikita Krylov and a very controversial split decision versus Anthony Smith, he was seen as the favorite due to his incredible power. 3 wins via KO at the UFC. Power that Guskov felt in the round 1, Spann initiating wrestling and grappling exchanges that he dominated due to his strength and explosivity. He was close to finish Guskov at the end of the round, but the Uzbek managed to survive and to keep his energy for the next round. A round that he negotiated way better, setting a striking distance favorable to his style, counter-attacking and finding openings with a lot of success. Around 2 minutes left, Guskov threw a beautiful uppercut, rocking Spann hard, following with a straight right hand, putting Spann on his ass. Then he made punches rain, aggressive ground and pound, and Herb Dean stepped in to stop the fight. Beautiful comeback from Guskov, getting his second KO win in a row and entering the top 15 from the light heavyweight division. He has a real ability to weather the storm and a great capacity to make smart adjustments. I'm curious to see who he will fight next and if he will still be an underdog. And the second underdog was Alex Perez. He fought Mateus Nicolau in the main event of the UFC Fight Night in Vegas on Saturday 27th. Major upset in that one. Before that fight, both were having different dynamics. Nicolau was on a rise, despite losing to Brandon Royval in April of 2023. Indeed, before that, he had 4 wins in 4 UFC fights against tough opponents: Manel Kape, Tim Elliott, David Vorak, and Matt Schnell. He was ranked number 5 in the flyweight division and was supposed to have a rematch with Manel Kape in order to get closer to a title shot. Perez was on a 3 fights losing streak, where he got submitted by Deveson Figueiredo and Alexander Pantoja, and losing by unanimous decision versus Muhammad Mukayev last March. In addition to that, he has a history of injuries and cancelled fights. He didn't fight in 2021 and in 2023 and was stepping in on short notice to replace Manel Kape. All of this made him logically the underdog. But he didn't let this status wait on him. He was aggressive from the beginning of the fight, setting pressure on Nicolau and exploding with nice combos, digging the body and coming back to the head. Great first round from Perez, even though Nicolau earned some respect with some powerful strikes. More intensity in the second round, more power in the strikes, more speed, more action from Nicolau as well, starting to use his kicks on Perez. The boxing from the American was on point, finding a lot of openings in Nicolau's guard and going to the body. Around 2 minutes 48 seconds left in the round, he pressured the Brazilian against the cage, unleashing his fast hands and knocking him out cold with a right hand to the chin. What a performance from Perez, dominating the fight with his boxing combos and his movement, not doubting himself once despite being on a bad streak, and now coming back in the win column with a statement. Pretty excited to see him back at that level. I'd like to see him against Kape next or Kai Kara France to see what he will be able to do. Of course, we saw some other underdogs winning this weekend. I'm thinking about Chico Kwasi winning via TKO over Andy Semelier at Glory 91, becoming the new welterweight champion. But the two I mentioned before were clearly the most moving. Quick update on the prospect I presented in episode 42. They all won. Mitch McKee won in LFA 182 main event with a dominating performance, showcasing his cardio and his amazing wrestling. Chihiro Suzuki won via TKO in the first round during Rizin 46 main event, keeping his featherweight belt in the process. Brian Zurcher also won via TKO in the first round, and I heard he's already booked for his next fight in June at the PFL, so you'll definitely hear from him again. I saw some other nice prospect this weekend. At LUX 42, Andrea Vasquez had a great performance versus Leticia Baltazar. Hugo Flores scored a nasty armbar with 1 second left in the fight. And Juan Diaz dominated Abraham Nava during 3 rounds, showing that he got the skills to face any kind of opponents. Promising performances from Kendra McIntyre, Michael Blockus and Nate Smith at LFA 182. At MVP Prospects, solid performance from Ioannis Teyes, defeating Joseph Jackson via unanimous decision after dominating the whole fight and even knocking down his opponents, even though this one was not really engaging. Daniel Pero and Jean-Paul Rivera are also prospects to follow in my opinion. I really liked what I saw from both of them. At Glory 91, impressive performances from Rajabzadeh and Bobo Sacco, both winning with nasty knockouts. Some nice fights at UFC Fight Night. I really enjoyed the performances from Ivana Petrovic, Chris Padilla, Katlin Souza and Uros Medic. And 1 minute only, that's the time needed for Mike Perry to knock out Thiago Alves in the BKFC main event. This guy really found his calling with bare knuckle boxing. I feel like he can really unleash himself there. So that's it regarding last weekend. If you enjoyed that video, please give a hard punch to those like and subscribe buttons. It helps me a lot. Go hit the comments, Discord, Telegram, Instagram, whatever you're on. Give me your thoughts about last weekend. I'll see you later this week.